All right, guys, welcome to the Off the Bench podcast. We have Josh Crisp in with us today. What's up, pal?
Not too much, man. Thanks for having me. How you doing?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I've never been better.
I bet, right? You just got married.
Yeah.
Some other news going on? I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of news.
Yeah.
This year we moved into our new home.
Right.
Got married.
Right.
Went on a honeymoon.
Yeah.
But before the wedding and the honeymoon, found out that we're expecting a baby.
Oh, yeah.
So
a round of applause for that. Can we get one of those? There we go. So you're going to be a dad.
Yes.
Changes the perspective on things a little bit, doesn't it?
First off, to kind of go back, when we first found out that she was pregnant, it didn't really set in at that moment because, it's just like the immediate just shock, right? So then once I realized that, no, this is real. I think I had her take 3 pregnancy tests.
Go figure. You didn't believe the first 2.
No. So then I was like, all right, no, this is real. So we got married, went on the honeymoon. And when I got back, I was like, all right, this is serious now. I got to make sure that I'm okay because I want to be there for my kids. So I ended up going to the doctor, getting a physical because, it's been 10 years since I've been to the doctor because I didn't really care. I'm healthy and don't have any issues. So it kind of just, that alone right there, just the fact that I even thought to go to the doctor to get a physical, it's already got me thinking this is going to be a huge change in my life.
Yeah.
Which I think, everybody gets to a point in their life where something needs to happen to kind of change the way things are. It could be good, could be bad, could be ugly and different. We've been through so many trials and tribulations this year as it is. As most people know, we survived a apartment fire where we lost everything.
Right.
And I really thought that was going to be the eye-opening situation in my life that would cause things to be a little different. And it did. I noticed a lot of things have changed. But then it wasn't the feeling that I had when I found out that I'm going to be a dad, because that's something special, that everybody always says is it's a feeling you can't explain.
That's right.
You can't explain it, but the feeling that you have is something that is one of the best feelings in the world, So I'm really looking forward to experiencing that because, I'm only getting older. And now, it's for real here. We're married. We live in a house. We have a baby on the way. We're committed.
No turning back now.
Right.
Right. And yeah, I don't think you can really, you don't know what love is until you have a child. I love my wife. You love Chelsea. But when you lay eyes on that little baby, I promise you there's not much you wouldn't do for that child. And it's and it's not Jamie wouldn't get offended about that. She feels the same way about our kids. Right. And so it just definitely, and as you go through that journey, it will be good because it does change perspective on everything. Because if your kids are good, you're good. The world could be crumbling around you. If you look down and your kids are good, everything's good. You know what I mean? So, all right. Now, and this is, I'm glad you're here because we're going to talk about a lot of stuff that I think at FFL, people see the success stories and all the glimmer and the I don't want to say fame, but all the stuff that goes along with the success here. And we don't talk about some of the struggles that people go through a lot. And not that we should all the time, but I think every now and again as a reminder to let people know, dude, it's to get to a certain level and whatever it is you decide to do, there's going to be some tough roads that have to be traveled, right?
Oh yeah.
And you've gone through a bunch of stuff and now it's now it's time to get back to work and time to take this thing to the level I want to take it to. I know I can take it to, but can you kind of go through some of the stuff, you don't have to dive in too deep, but some of the stuff you've dealt with over the last 6, 8, 12 months and how you've gotten your mind wrapped around it and what your plans are to bring everything back to the way you want it to be?
Yeah. First off, it's always good to be around other people and talk to other people because when you are by yourself, you start thinking differently, and sometimes people think that, and myself included, that when you kind of exclude everybody out and it's just you, it's better for you. You know, like it's just like, hey, I'm not going to talk to them. I'm not going to talk to them. I'm just going to do it myself, and I'm just going to do it this way. And it's very lonely. And what I've realized the last, several months is, my business, my professional side, it's had a lot of ups and downs. And
right.
I can't blame anybody else but myself, simply because, I'm glad that I can openly talk about this, because like you said, most people don't really explain this side of the business. They only see like what's it look like when you're at the top.
That's right.
And not that I feel like I've ever been like at the absolute top, but I have a pretty nice life. Like
sure.
I've done pretty well for myself, but that doesn't mean that everything's easy.
Sure.
Like there's so much more that goes in to keeping what you've worked so hard for and what you sacrificed for, that you can't forget what got you to that point.
Right.
You know what I mean? So for me, one of the things is I started not believing. And that's one of the things that will destroy anybody in any business that you're in. And the reason I stopped having belief is because I almost didn't believe in myself anymore.
Right.
But then instead of me admitting that I wasn't believing myself, I started pointing fingers at other people, because that's the easy thing to do.
Sure.
And when you are around like-minded people, you're around people that want to truly, genuinely see you win, and you talk to people that are really there in your corner, it's just crazy how you just look at things so differently, and it can happen so fast.
Right.
But I chose to stay away because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And a lot of it, I knew that like if I could get back to where I was before, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. But who's to say that I don't get back to where I was and double it or triple it or quadruple it, because I already know what it took to get there. I also know what it's like to go backwards. And nobody ever wants to experience that, but the reality in business is it will happen. If somebody wants to make you think that it's rainbows and butterflies and like it's just from point A to point B, just a straight line up, that's not the case.
Sure.
And hearing your story and the trials and tribulations that you went through, I made a comment earlier and I was like, yeah, but your situation's not the same as mine. It was in a much larger scale. And I almost wanted to like slap myself, because I was like, that makes no sense. Like, so like it's good being here, having somebody to talk to that's experienced it, even if it wasn't as big or it was bigger.
Sure.
It's just the fact that that, listen, there's a reason why very few people get to a position in life where they're financially free and stable, because it's not about what took you to get there. It's about remembering what took you to get there and continue to keep doing it. Otherwise, you could potentially lose everything.
No doubt.
And that's where I started kind of veering off, thinking, all right, well, if this isn't the right path, let me find a new path.
Sure.
And the reality behind all of that is the new path isn't as fun and as exciting as my current path, because that's what made me who I am.
Sure. Well, and that's a single, like you're not doing it with other people, really. You know what I mean? I think that's a huge deal. Being on a team is really fun.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, it is. That's why I played sports growing up.
Sure.
Because I never played video games. I wasn't into that kind of stuff. Like where I like to be around people.
Right.
You should know that enough about me. Like my wife definitely knows that about me.
I'm surprised you didn't take people on your honeymoon.
I would have if I could. But like, it's just one thing. I don't like to be alone.
Yeah.
And if I'm a person that doesn't like that, and that's how I'm being,
it's bad
like,
news.
It's bad. Like it just doesn't fit well. And then you start going through like a little bit of a depression state or a confused state, or wondering like, hey, what if I lose everything? And then you're like trying to put the pieces together, trying to figure it out, and you're doing everything wrong because you're trying to find a faster way to do something, knowing that, hey, I've been doing this for 12 years.
Right.
And it's just crazy when you look back at it, because 12 years of doing this, there was a lot of ups and downs, sacrifices just for that last 12 years. And then now I have, thankfully, one bad year that I'm like, hey, let me just hope that 1 year can change everything in my business again, forgetting about what I just did the last 11 years that got me there. And what I'm trying to explain is it's more the timing of everything. Some people can do it faster than others. Some people it may take longer, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I do know that what's possible because I've been there, and I can do it again. And it's a mindset. It's a 100% mindset shift. And I was asking you today. I was like, so why is it this way? Why is it that way? And you're like, it's all mindset. It's all mindset. He's like, the reason why other people do more than you or they're doing better right now is because they believe. And I was honest with you. I was like, well, I stopped believing. I stopped really thinking that this was the only option, and this was a vehicle that other people could have success in. And that's actually what hurt me the most, I think.
Yeah.
Because I'm a leader by heart. Like, I like to lead people. I like to watch other people go from having nothing to changing their life, and then seeing what they can do to give back to their family, the community, or just have a new life.
Sure.
Right? Because I didn't grow up in the absolute best life. I grew up with a single mom who worked like 40, 50 hours and had to take care of 3-4 kids. It was always a constant grind for her, but she did enough just to make sure that we could eat.
Sure.
And I'm looking back now and like, yeah, I just got married, have a baby on the way. Even with these challenges that I had this last 12 months, I'm still not in a position where I'm like begging or walking in a food line.
Your baby's going to live a pretty good life.
My baby's going to live a pretty good life, but it potentially could have been worse if I didn't correct it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Then you go in a different path, and then that's that path that takes you into destruction, and that's where people actually lose everything. So if I believe in myself, and I believe that I can change other people's lives, and I believe that what I'm doing is actually generally helping other people, that's my mission in this world.
Yeah.
At least that's how I feel. So I know that I'll never lose everything.
No.
And it's a lot easier said than done, because even as I just said that to you, I'm thinking like, all right, I still have that thought in the back of my head. What if I lose everything?
Sure.
And that's scary, because when you come from nothing and then you have things that most people don't, the biggest fear is I don't want to go back to that way. And then what people do, and what I was starting to do, is you kind of throw your hands up and you're like, all right, well, we're going here. Let's just go for the ride. But the reality is that's when you need to work harder.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what's happened these last 12 months.
Well, dude, and I can't honestly, like when I was talking to Jamie last night about you coming in, like what you just said, I can't tell you how proud and happy I am for you. Where you go, dude, I started to do this, and then I started pointing fingers when I realized it's me. And it's hard, like, and, I've known you now for going 3 years, like a little brother to me, but it's still hard for me to go, Josh, you're messed up. You're like, because it's not easy to tell people that they're doing stuff wrong, because you never know how that's going to go. And it's all out of love, but the fact that you're looking at it going like, dude, I need to fix some stuff. That's the first step, right? They say that's the first step in anything. You're fat. Well, admit you're fat, then you can lose some weight. Or I'm an addict. Admit you're an addict, you can stop being an addict, right? So it's, to me, I'm so happy that you're thinking clear, because it's like the rest of the stuff is a breeze. Once you know and you go, this is what I got. It's small little corrections, right? And that's all it is. Correction, boom, right back on path. Correction, boom, right back on path. Because you're so good at what we do, training people, selling, talking, like you're very good. And that's, you've lost that excitement, and it's been sad to see. But I think you're right where you have to be, because, for me, and I've told you this, and now where you're at in 12 months, we'll have this conversation. But every time we've gone through something major, we've come out of it stronger and better 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months down the road. As long as we go, what did we do? What could we have done differently? And if we took that mindset, everything worked out. So I have no doubt it's going to work out for you, which is really exciting, because this is the first time you've ever done that. I'm just like, the 3 years I've known you, it's the first time you ever gone, dude, it's me.
Well, when I look back and when the fire happened, right, I was like, oh man, why did this have to happen to me? But the crazy thing is, like, my life wasn't really affected. And it sounds crazy, but like, it's just like, I didn't have that effect on my business. Like my personal life for sure was affected because we lost everything. But because of the business, I was able to have everything back that we just lost. So I didn't really feel too much of a loss. You know what I mean? So like I felt like, okay, I'm unstoppable. And maybe in a way that's what I felt, or I felt that, hey, because this happened to me, something new should happen to make up for what happened. And I'm just going to hope that it comes easy. You know, I'm just being honest.
Sure.
Like, and when I look back and I think about that situation, that wasn't enough, I don't think, to like kind of get me to open my eyes. Like it was, it sounds probably crazy.
No,
but
it doesn't.
It was enough to get me to realize that I can't take certain things for granted.
Right.
But because I made it out alive, I built a new house, I got married, you know, I did all those things still, and it didn't affect me from being able to do that. And the same timeline, I didn't really feel the effects of, hey, my business that I work so hard for is going backwards.
Right.
And then when you feel that, that's when reality slaps you in the face. Because if my business wasn't as well as it was before that incident happened, I wouldn't even be that probably would have been the wake up call. Sure. But because
and then FFL put together a little fund, like quick as hell too. Right.
Yeah,
Blew my mind.
Well, that's what I mean.
It's like nuts.
The fact that there were people there for me, knowing that it wasn't something that I absolutely needed, but they just wanted to help. They just wanted to be there. I mean, that's a blessing that I can only thank so many people so many times. But if the same thing happened to somebody else, I promise you, and you've already experienced it, I would do the same thing for somebody else.
That's what we do here.
But when it comes to the business side of it, because that's like, you know, having a personal story is your story. That's what makes you who you are.
Sure.
But the business is the business, and you can't mix the business and the personal. And I think on the personal side of what happened to me, that's why I didn't see the effects on my business until I started making it seem like I deserve something.
Sure.
Because why did that happen to me? Now that happened to me, I deserve this. I deserve that. And that affected my business.
Where do you think that came from? Because it's not like you're when I met you, you weren't an entitled person. You know what I mean? Like you didn't have that mindset. Where do you think it and again, I'm just curious because, you know, we all fall into pitfalls of some sort at some point in time. You know what I mean? Like I'll catch myself watching stuff like, you know, violent stuff like a lot. I'm going like, why am I doing this? Because it's nothing poisoning my mind, right? Where I'm driving, I want to kill somebody because they cut me off. I'm going like, why am I wanting to kill this guy? Oh, because I watched a movie last night that the guy cut him off and he cut his head off. Like, duh, that's stupid, right? Where do you think that came from?
I actually know exactly where it came from.
Oh, love this.
And I think it's because like when that happened, I had so much support and so much love. And at that time, I was telling you, I was like, dude, I didn't feel like people cared about me on a personal side. You remember, like we almost had a conversation, the complete opposite. And I was like, I feel like people stopped caring. And that was the personal side.
Okay.
That wasn't the business side. The business was being affected slightly, but not to the point of what it's been the last couple months. So I think what happened is, one, I'm a very competitive person. So when I see other people come in and do better than me, and I've worked really, really hard, I feel like I deserve something in that aspect, which obviously is not necessarily the right way to feel.
Sure.
But because of the fire, when it happened, it's so much so support and prayers and thanks and just blessings.
Sure.
Everybody kept telling me, it's like, your life is going to be better than it's ever been. And you're going to notice that this is going to change, and this is going to be something that's going to change everything.
Sure.
And
I was probably one person that said that to you.
Yeah, you definitely were. Yeah. But lots of people said it. The support I had, everybody said that. So I started believing like, oh, hey,
it's just going to happen.
It's just going to happen. And it's crazy. Like, that's really how I felt. And that's not who I am. But that's just how I felt because so many people told me it was going to happen. I thought maybe I could just snap my fingers. It's crazy.
Dude, that is crazy.
That's what it was. I know it's what it was because I relied on those support messages and those prayers and those blessings as if it was just going to be handed to me.
Yeah.
And when that didn't happen, now I'm pointing fingers back again, being like, this person told me this person told me this person told me this, and it didn't happen.
That makes sense. Dude, this is like, I don't even, you have no idea how powerful this is, because dude, I remember having those conversations. And again, it's like, and I just said it with your baby, right? Like, it's going to change your perspective on life. Now there's 0%, but it's still like there's work to be done, right? And it doesn't ever change. I think when perspective changes, there's always change that comes with a different perspective, right? It's kind of like, I'm Italian. I love eating, right? My perspective on food is that's what we do as Italians, right? We family food, we eat. But if I change my perspective to, dude, you're fat, you got to stop focusing on the food, then I change what I get at the grocery store, what we do on Sundays when we have fat. Like, dude, my actions changed to line up with the perspective that's changed, right? But if I have the same actions and a different perspective, the result's still going to be the same. Then I'm frustrated because I have a different perspective, but I'm getting the same result. Going, well, I'm getting the same result. I'm still doing the same thing, but my perspective's different. It should just change. I want to be skinny. I'm skinny. Yeah, that would be nice. Like, I'd be a gazillionaire if I had that pill. So,
dude, I probably bought that pill.
Yeah. So moving forward, right? We've talked about a lot of stuff you guys are going to implement, and which, again, to me, I've heard you train, and you're amongst the top in the company, bar none. Just because, and you've been doing this for how long now? 11 years? 12 years. So same, yeah. I mean, and you should be really good, right? I mean, 12 years. You're a professional. But the amount of lives you can touch and change is what I think will drive you again with the new energy. So what are some of the changes you're making at the office to, and we talked about it a little bit earlier too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it all comes down to mindset and positivity. So like, if I'm having a bad day, nobody's going to know about it. And I'm going to try my hardest. Can't say that I'm going to be perfect.
I can know about it.
I'm going to try my hardest. I can't be negative about anything. I have to believe that everything is going to work out. Everything's going to be good. And this just went into my mind. I have to be the one that's telling myself everything's going to be okay, and I'm going to get whatever I deserve to because of the work that I'm putting in and the effort I'm putting in. Not relying on somebody else telling me I'm going to have it.
Dude, I love that.
That just like came right
you
to
hear
my mind.
Yourself more than anybody else anyway.
Yeah.
It's funny. I had an agent in the office last week, and he was complaining about the same stuff, going like, these leads stuff. I said, dude, you do realize, like, you might as well just quit if this is how it's going to be. Because the way Sean trained us, like, and everything, like, we got served with a lawsuit. He's like, yeah, dude, no big deal. I mean, like, literally, he's like, hey, I got something to tell you. I was like, what's up? He's like, we're getting sued. I was like, okay. He's like, no big deal, though. Go back to work. It was no big deal. Now, if he'd have been like, dude, we got sued. I don't know what's going to happen. It's going to cost us money. I'd have probably freaked out. Now, because I don't really care. But there had been people that freaked out, right? So and people are following you. So they're expecting you to go, dude, what are you talking about? These leads suck. They're fantastic. They are fantastic. And you know what I'm talking about. If I pick up this piece of paper and there's a phone number in there, I go, there's a 1,000,000% chance that they're gonna answer. I'm gonna set an appointment. I got 100 times better chance of setting it if I pick it up and go, they're probably not gonna pick up. I'm never setting this appointment. And people don't understand how manifesting works in your brain, but it does. So, and I know you've done it before because I've watched you. So, man, I could talk to you for another hour because this is really good, but we try to keep this cut down to a limit. So, any parting advice for people that might be going through something or have gone through something in the past they can't get over?
Well, yeah, going back to these leads are really good. When you made that statement, I look back and I'm like, all right, so when I first started in this industry, I got my teeth kicked in.
Right.
I was working nights and weekends and sacrificing holidays and birthday parties, and I did all of that stuff.
Right.
And then you get to a point where you start feeling you're reaping the rewards.
Right.
And then you have other people come in that you're teaching, and you want them to have that success that you're having right now, right away.
Right.
It doesn't happen overnight. And that's the best thing I could tell people is if you're getting beat up, it's not going to be the best thing that's going to be right in front of you right now. Like it's literally, it takes time. And Ron and I was talking to you, and we were mentioning, you know, when a new agent comes in, they start making a phone call and they don't book as many appointments as we do, or they don't have the success that we do. How do you handle that? And you said the honest truth. This is going to happen. This is supposed to happen. Try to get through all your no's first and do this. Well, instead, we become like more of like a comfort, and we're like, oh, I'm sorry. Like there's got to be something else out there that's better. There's got to be a better lead source, or there's got to be that. And now we're stooping to their level, comforting them when we were doing the same thing. And when we were getting our teeth kicked in, people were like, dude, you suck. Like you just keep calling. Like, yeah. As long as you get to enough no's, you're going to find your yes. So what I would really leave people with is this doesn't happen overnight. It is a process, and you have to make sure that you stick around people that want to see you win. And whether they're on your team or they're not, if there's somebody out there that you can connect with and you can relate to, reach out to them, because if you keep all your emotions inside, it'll bottle up and it'll explode at one point, and it could be the end of your career. And,
no doubt.
If you don't open up and talk to people, because in business, there's always somebody that's higher than you. There's always somebody that's better than you. There's always somebody that has more than you. So there's always somebody to go to. So as long as you go up and not down, you should be okay.
Dude, I love it, man. Thank you so much for coming in. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for being as honest as you were, because I know that's not easy. Congratulations on the marriage, the house, the new baby to be. Anything I miss?
A million families,
right?
Or 1,000 families.
So, guys, Josh Crisp. Oh, you're revamping the office in Cleveland, right? You're building this thing. If I want to come work with you and Ron, you guys are, but like you both are very good at what you do. Ron's a nut job in the field, like a beast. You're incredibly good at the advanced market sales, the recruiting, the training. How would I come work with Entourage?
Yeah, so definitely follow me on Instagram at It's Josh Crisp. We can definitely connect that way. Facebook, Joshua Crisp, or you can just call me 313-603-8642. Would love to help you out, because I don't think there's a better time than right now, where I'm getting, in the trenches with everybody to start really building this thing as if I have nothing. And I promise you, I can help give you that opportunity that I needed when I first got started. So if you're looking for an opportunity, definitely reach out.
Damn right. Bro, I love you, man. It's good to see you. I'm fired up to see what the next 12 months brings you with the new baby coming and the new business model. We're excited, man.
Yeah, I'm excited, man, for sure. Thanks for having me.
Guys, until next time, make it a big week. Appreciate y'all.